This is the regular meeting of the Parking Authority of Fairfield, Thursday, February 25th, 2021, 7:30 p.m., and this meeting is being held via teleconference.
Thank you, Eileen. This is Rich Fitzgerald, and I want to call to order the meeting here. And first order here is to act on the minutes from January 28th, 2021. I know we circulated the meeting minutes, I think, a few weeks ago. I believe, Eileen, this is where I need some assistance here. I think we just need to make one edit to the meeting minutes to reflect the motion that was made at the last meeting for the executive compensation, where a motion was made by Dan and seconded by myself during the executive session to approve staff compensation. I know all this is just more of a formality, but it's just something that we need to reflect in the meeting minutes.
Okay. Sounds good.
So with that,
you guys have to just approve the minutes. You have to make a motion to approve it with that change. Yep.
Okay.
I second.
Great. Thank you. That was Greg?
Yeah.
Excellent. Good.
Now we got to vote on
it. Oh.
Everyone's in favor?
Yep.
Yeah.
Say aye. It was Rich.
Yes. Aye.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent. Next is the chair's report. I have nothing new to report here, and so with that, I'll turn over to the Parking Authority office report. And I think the first item here is, Eileen, you want to take this over?
Yes. Okay. Just to give a quick office update, there is no longer a wait list. We turned off on Passport the ability to sign up. So now we have a note as well as on the website that if anyone is interested in a permit, they should call the office. And we're encouraging anyone that we speak to, if they're mentioned that they might be interested in a permit, to do so. And we have had a few people who are still interested in permits, so that's been good. In fact, in February, we sold an additional 17 permits. So year to date, we've sold 1982.
Great.
For day parking, the fees are being collected at the kiosk and mobile app. Some customers are paying multiple days, which is great. It's something we've always wanted to be able to offer, and we couldn't with the ticketing, but now we can. So somebody could go in on either the app or the kiosk, and they can buy, if they know they're going to be traveling on the train for the next 3 days, they can buy 3 days worth of tickets or of fees. And when our LPR goes through it, each day it registers that person has already paid, so they don't have to keep doing it each day. So I think for a lot of customers, particularly when the lot comes back, that'll be a big convenience. As far as the transactions, we had about 80 transactions in February month to date, and about 100 on the kiosk, and 116 transactions month to date for February on the mobile app. I think the mobile app is a little bit more popular because it's a little easier, but for people who are maybe not going in it quite as often, I think the kiosk will always be a good alternative. I had mentioned to some of you that the town, spearheaded by Mark Barnhart, is looking at a scooter program with a company called Bird, where they have these scooters in this nesting area. I attended that meeting, and we're waiting for that company to provide to the town their proposed locations. None of the locations will be in a public right-of-way, although at first during the meeting they mentioned the train station, which is why I was invited to the meeting. But they don't usually put them in public right-of-way, and certainly not in a state right-of-way. So I'm not sure where the locations will be, but it's something that as soon as I do hear something, and if it does relate to somehow to the train station, I'll bring this up. I'll send you guys an email, or we'll talk about it at a meeting. And then I want to move on to the Fairfield, New York rental space. We talked about renovating, somewhat renovations of the New York station house at Fairfield so that we could accommodate our current tenant who has less than 140 square feet, and some of the space is not even available to him because of electrical panels. So he's been interested in additional space either in the New Haven side or in the New York side if we could. So some time ago we had first talked about this, and I had put together a chart or a little drawing, which I sent out to you guys, where there was two options, and we discussed more that option 2 probably would be what we'd want to do, which is that we would have a wall put in a little further over into the weight room, that the tenant could then have a bigger space. And we also talked about whether or not we take the ticket booth down, and I gave you guys a drawing of the ticket booth and what's inside. And as you can see, there's a lot of outlets. Some of them are dead, but there's outlets and wiring and things of that nature, and I think that would be cost prohibitive to do at this time. But it's up to you what option you want to take, if any, and what you want to do about the ticket booth. And depending on what you do, I'll speak with Public Works. They'll do what the last time they did the New Haven station house, and we paid all the materials. I do have to get an okay with the state, but I've talked to the state about this, and they're fairly supportive of it. They want to see the final drawing, but they were very pleased with what we did with the New Haven side. So anyways, I'm going to leave this part in your hands now to kind of discuss as to what options you're interested in and what your thoughts are on what to do with the Fairfield Station House, the New York side.
Does anybody have anything to say? Rich, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, I looked at the drawings that were sent through. First off, it's encouraging that there's interest in the space, right?
Yes.
I know we're going to talk a little bit later about kind of the financials and everything like that, but it's encouraging that people want to actually gravitate and use the space. I remember last time, and this is Greg, I need a little refresher on this ticket booth and some of the changes here, but how much of this wall is being moved, I guess, and I don't even know how much structural changes this would take place.
If I could answer that, you see on the chart that said option 2, where it's a dotted line, we would not take any walls down. We would just put additional wall up, and it would be a wall that could be later on taken down easily. It's not going to be so that if we, years from now, wanted to go back to the old way, we could do that. There's a way that Public Works can build that wall so it's not so permanent. We would not touch the other existing wall that's in there right now that is kind of borders Rise and Shine and BlackRock K9's current space. We would leave that untouched. We would just build another wall so they have an additional space.
And
right.
Go ahead.
I believe from the last time we talked about this, I think the decision, what we wanted to do was go with the option 1, not option 2. But I mean, that's how my memory, if my memory is correct, to align it with the wall leading the ticket booth and leaving the ticket booth where it is. That's what my memory reminds me of. Personally, I don't really care. Like, to me, it's what are they willing to pay? What space do they want to use? And based on that, that's what guides the decision. If they're going to pay, that's what I would base on, because that extra 6 feet is really of no consequence to the room, in my opinion. And if it could make for nice rental space, that's most important to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Not keeping 6 additional feet of useless space.
I agree with that, Greg, and I think that's what we discussed, I think, about a year ago as well for the New York bound side.
So what do we need to ultimately do here?
So what we need to do is just decide. I can talk. I guess maybe what I should do then is to talk to BlackRock Canines and say to them, "Here's 2 options that we have. How much space, would you be willing? Are you looking for?" And maybe go there at the same time, get some pricing from Public Works. And once I have that, I can come back to the board and just say, we've got to come up with the rent that we would charge based on that. And at the same time, I can be sending it over to the state to and say, here's the option that we're probably going to go forward with.
Can I make a suggestion on how to make this easier than that? Why don't instead of going back and forth, because basically what you just outlined is not being able to make a decision for at least 2 meetings, having to go to BlackRock, then having to go to the state, and then come back to us, and then go back to BlackRock. Why don't we just say option 1 is what we want to do, come up with a proposed lease price. So if BlackRock agrees and the state agrees, we just we've already agreed. We just execute, and we don't have to go back and forth 2 to 3 more meetings to get to the same place. We could kind of answer that for now.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree as well.
And particularly we have interest from the tenants, it sounds like. Right?
Yeah, basically...
Both Naughty Dolphin is interested in the other space on the other side, and BlackRock is definitely still interested, and I've talked to him regularly, and he said, I'm definitely interested. Just let me know.
So then to me, we obviously could use the income, so let's not waste any time and just make the offers out to everybody. We already had an offer, if I'm not mistaken, out to Naughty Dolphin, or based on the RFP that we did a year ago, that they're willing to pay $5 something for that space. Is that right, Eileen?
We did not give them a price. We knew what we were charging a Herman, but we did not give a price to Naughty Dolphin because we didn't put an RFP out for that space again. We advertised it. But,
advertised it.
Yeah, we advertised it. We had a lot of things like that that we were doing. We found that the RFPs don't always generate any more foot traffic than I actually did better by putting the for rent signs up.
So what do you remember what we talked about? Was it $5? Do you remember the dollar amount? Because I don't remember.
We charged A.E. Herman $500.
Okay, fine. So the rental space that BlackRock is in now is 140 feet of space, right? So this space that we're looking at would bring their total space to about 500 square feet. Is that right?
Who, Naughty?
No, the BlackRock.
BlackRock. I don't know. I mean, roughly, does that sound right? Eileen? I'm not sure if we lost her.
Sorry, I had myself on mute and I didn't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time?
So the existing rental space at BlackRock is that little tiny sliver that says existing rental space, 10 feet by 14 feet, right?
Yes.
So it's a little confusing because that looks like a tiny little space compared to these two other big blocks that look like they're 10 times the size.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't have graph paper. I'm doing this on the PC, but this is not the whole, the existing rental space. It kind of goes off of the page. I was only drawing part of it. I didn't do the whole building.
Right.
But yes, it would be, this is about approximately 8 or 9 feet to option 2 and 15 feet to option 1 if you go across.
Right.
And
so
it's
basically
21 feet wide.
You're going from 140 to 500. So we're more than 3 times the size of their space, right?
Yes.
And what are they paying? $350 a month?
Yes. And they're very good with their payments.
Okay. So do you guys have an idea what you'd want to charge for this additional space? Actually, you know what? I have a question. How much is our Southport tenant space and size?
That is, I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
Is it similar size?
It's probably comparable to this, but it's a different space. It's that whole station house was renovated.
Yeah.
I don't recall off the top of my head how big it is. It's probably it might be even a little smaller than if you went all the way over to the option line 1. It's probably a little smaller. The Southport one is a little smaller than this because this is significant. You got 21 feet deep, 15 wide. I'd have to, I'd have to look this up. So I don't want to misstate.
Right. Well, because I was going to say that if they're similar size spaces, I think you kind of have to stay consistent with what the rent is.
Mm-hmm.
And especially because whereas the Southport station might be a little newer and a little nicer, ultimately this space is going to wind up looking new once it's renovated, and it's in the Fairfield, downtown Fairfield Center. So that's more of a premium than the Southport one. So I think, it'd be hard to justify this space at a larger footprint at less money.
Right. So the space is they have about 725 square feet in Southport.
Oh, well, that's much bigger than this space then. That
is bigger, yeah. It's deceptive. Yeah. I just looked at the lease, and the lease states approximately 720 square feet.
Right.
But they're interested.
How big is the Naughty Dolphin space going to be once the construction is completed? No, that space is as is. That's on the opposite side. Some more space. Yeah, no, they are. That's the space on the New Haven side, which is it's a very nice space. It's just very, very small. I mean, it's like I don't think it's 6 feet wide. This place triple the square footage that they currently have, and they're paying $300 a month now. Yeah.
Yes.
I would think, if you're tripling their space, should, I don't want to say a significant, but at least, a decent bump. Yeah.
The space at the A.E. Herman, which is the space, David, that at the New Haven Station House, Naughty Dolphin is on one end, and then there was rental space on the other end. And that space is just for an office space, and that Naughty Dolphin's interested in that as well. That space is 200 square feet.
Oh, 200. Okay, so that's 200 at $500 a month. Wow. Then, yeah. So I think it's, I do. I think it could easily be $1,000 a month space. Because if the other space across on New Haven is 500 and it's 200 square feet, and this is ultimately going to be 500 square feet, it's we kind of have to be basing this stuff on square foot pricing, not just haphazardly coming up with a price, Mm-hmm. So if that's what our square foot price is across, then it should be somewhat reflected in this space now, right? Or otherwise, that tenant's going to have, a gripe and be like, well, why is he paying this and I'm paying that? And, because all of this is public information, ultimately, if somebody wants to look it up. So I think we just need to be consistent, especially in the same, we're talking about basically the same building. And you're going to have a brand new space. It can't really be, in my opinion, market cheaper than the space on the other side. Mm-hmm.
I mean, he knows the K9 folks know there will be clearly an increase in their rent, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming that, but you haven't really had any discussions with what amount, what that number would look like, right?
No, because I didn't know where we were going to come out in terms of the size or anything like that. So I didn't want to say something that, was completely, if you guys came up with a completely different figure. So no, but yes, obviously, if he's going to take on additional space, he knows that there'll be an increase in his rent.
So basically, it's $30 a square foot on the space on the New Haven side.
Right, roughly on the mail. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, maybe there's a slight discount because he's an existing tenant, but it's not going to be a lot, At
$30 a square foot, it comes out to $11.62 a month. At $30 a square foot.
And he's paying how much right now, Eileen?
And the thing you have to consider too is neither one of these spaces have bathrooms, but the space on the New Haven side to actually use a bathroom, you have to go out of your space into the station house to use the bathroom. In this space, you actually don't really have to, because I imagine they put a door that leads into the station house where you just go out your office door and into the bathroom in the station house. It's not private, but you don't have to leave the building. Right. So I don't know how much you could discount the rents. Like if you took it down to, let me just do the math. Sorry.
How did you come up with 30 per square foot?
Yeah, I think I'm sort of confused as well. $30 a square foot is going to be on a 350 square foot or whatever it is, 400
right.
square foot is going to be way out of the ballpark that we're talking.
I don't think so. So if you take, unless I did this wrong, and maybe I'm totally off, but it came out to
$500 divided by 200 square feet. I guess.
So right now, Naughty Dolphin, if they're paying $500 a month, and they have how many square feet?
200.
I don't know how much
200?
Naughty Dolphin's current one.
We're talking $2.50 a square foot. Am I wrong?
Yes, you do it by the year. So you'll take they pay $500 a month times 12 is 6,000 divided by 200, you get 30.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
You don't do square footage, but
on a monthly basis, yeah.
Right. It's yearly.
And Naughty has like an incredible deal, right? If I remember correctly,
Naughty.
Like they're like well below market. Right? They're definitely below market.
Yeah, they pay about $600. For their current space.
Right. So, if we were to round this to like, let's just say for argument's sake, $1,000, is that, and do the math there? Do you think that would be fair, team?
Hold on a second.
That's for the bigger space. If he says that he wants the smaller of the two choices, you'll have to come up with a price for that as well.
Okay, I'm confused. I thought we were just talking about option one.
Well, we're going to propose that, but if he says that that's too big of a space, we don't want to waste time and have to wait till we come back to a board meeting. So we want to have a price as well for the option 2, which is the smaller of the extended space. So that if he said no, that's way too much.
That's not what Greg said, but that's okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's not what I said.
Isn't that what
actually?
No,
it's
it
not?
isn't, Greg. Yeah,
no.
Greg's idea was totally not that. His proposal was much better.
My proposal was go with one simple option and say this is what the option is and this is what the cost would be. And if he agrees, then we're done. If he doesn't agree, then we would have to go back to the second option. But I think it first comes down to what we as a board want to do that makes the most amount of sense to a renovation of that building, right? And if that's what we feel makes the most amount of sense, then that's what we should propose, and not go with a couple different proposals. Again, it's just me speaking, but I think we get too confusing, too many options to go to him with, well, do you like this? Like that? Well, okay, here's behind curtain 2 is this. So, but again, we ultimately have to vote. So, the other guys should chime in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like the fact that this guy is interested, the canine, tenant, and I like to keep him. He wants more space. Let's keep it simple, We know it's a tough environment out there. And whenever we have a tenant that wants more space here, I want to work with them. And it sounds like he likes the location, so. So it's option.
So what are you saying?
Number one, option number one. But I believe, I think when we did the math before, weren't we roughly at, with the incremental space, roughly over $1,100 a month, Greg? If I took my notes before.
Yeah, he said 1162.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's based on what the other guy's paying. So, it's I mean I don't really care either way. I think it'd be hard to rent that space for less than $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Compared to what the other side is paying, and being able to justify it.
Yeah. So if we were roughly at $1,000, I was just saying for round numbers here, that equates into
$25 a square foot.
$25 a square foot, kind of quote unquote below market, versus what we're getting, and maybe that's a starting negotiation point. I mean. And others.
Okay.
We can get comfortable with that. We haven't kind of not evaluated what other tenants are making and paying us, and it's hopefully a compromise. But I don't know if that's something that incremental space is worth that additional amount in their eyes, But I would hope so. But it's something that we can step back from, and we came up with a sound argument on how we got to the number.
Okay. So yeah, I'll talk to him and see what he has to say. Hopefully he'll be interested, and if he says it's the space that's more space than he can use, or the price is a little higher than he can handle right now, then we can
go from there.
Come back and come up with another option for him to look at. But
is that okay,
he is
Dave,
very interested. I know that.
Yeah, that's. Can I just have what type of business is this?
He is a he does a dog training. He's a police officer, and not in Fairfield. I forget
it's service.
Which county.
It's service dogs.
Yes, but
service,
he does
service
train
dogs and guard dogs.
Right, for all kinds of things. And then there's other dogs who don't really make the cut that he then, but they're very well trained, and they are dogs that are available for families. So he has a business like that. He has an area where he's got multiple acres where he does all the training with some partners. So he's got a good business going, and he's generated a lot of interest at the station.
Just for reference, the dogs sell anywhere from, a service animal on the low end, I believe, is somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000, and they go upwards of over $100,000 for guard dogs.
Okay.
So it's a higher end business.
Oh my God.
What use the space for? Just as an office?
Yeah, he uses the space, and he uses that space for people that are picking up dogs as pets, the ones that didn't make the cut, so to speak. And so they'll come there, and he will take them out and show them how to work with the dog and all of that. And so he uses it more as an office space, but he would like room to be able to store and sell some, feed and things like that for the dogs as well.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, based on what you're telling me there, I think you guys, it's more than fair as a starting point. So, I'm on board.
Great. All right. I think that's it, Eileen, for the office report?
Yeah, that's it. So I will keep you posted on how it goes, and I'll get something to the DOT as well, and get them to give us their approval on it. So I don't anticipate a problem with.
Great. Thank you. So I think that concludes. Now we're going to go into executive session. Eileen. Is that next on the agenda?
Yeah, so you have to make a motion to go into executive session.
All right. This is Rich. I'm going to make a motion to
Wait, time out.
move into...
Wait, I missed.
Go ahead.
Wait, hold on a second. Don't we need to, like, vote on that so Eileen can go make that offer to them?
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying that in order for you to go make that offer to BlackRock, don't we need to, like, motion to do that and then vote on it?
Yes, you're right, Greg.
Let's do that.
Okay. Good point there, Greg. This is Rich. I'll make a motion to make an extension to BlackRock Canines for the incremental space for $1,000 per month.
I'll second. David.
Great. Thank you.
We need to vote on it. So, like,
all in favor?
All in favor, say aye. Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I think that concludes that. Jude, is that okay for the record?
Yep, that's perfect. And I am actually going to drop off now that you're going into executive session. You have to motion again now to go into executive session, and then I'll have to say goodbye.
Okay, great. I'm going to motion to go into executive session.
Thanks, Jude.
Thank you.
Okay, guys,
Jude.
have a good evening.
Speak with you soon.
You too, Jude.
And who was the second for the motion? Eileen, I see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Who's the second for the
I think it was Greg.
Greg. Perfect.
Sure.
And it's 8:22 p.m. Okay, thank you, guys. Have a good one. Bye, Eileen.
Thank you, Jude.
You too. Bye-bye, Jude. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me...
Here.
Okay, the board has just come out of executive session and is 9:03.
And I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. To take a vote.
That was Rich
Second.
who made the motion, and Greg seconded. Okay. All right. The meeting is adjourned at 9:03 p.m.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good night. Thanks, guys.
Good night.